All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Gonna see for its local search and for its city search if it is they got BSS, yes or no for either or both of them. And back here in the GBC universe, we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, F6 is our North Star, full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pinned video, home video, wherever. It's because F6 explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our full spectrum intent capture here in white. Got our highest intent peeps over on the left. There's people using social search, Google search, looking for a boudoir photo shoot in their city today. Over on the right, we got the lowest intent people, and we deal with those with our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS, and we're currently only working with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. But here, these videos talk about BSS. And BSS is boudoir search sameness. That means a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. Both are terrible. If we got 0 slots page 1 on Google, that means we're page 2 or deeper. And we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2, which means 80% of people, they're page 1 only searches, which means page 1 is the only place that matters. Page 2 and deeper, we're basically dead. 1 slot. If we got 1 slot on page 1 Google, that ain't enough. And that ain't enough because everyone else has got 1 slot as well. Some people may have 2. And so we're going to be, price shop to death. Buyers just going to go down, hit each link, open up their website, contact them, price shop, negotiate, price shop. And, just the killer for every boudoir photography business. Now, 0-1 slots of page 1 of Google is not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. It's extremely common. Everyone accepts it as normal, but it's not. There's 2 deeper root causes: market saturation, which basically everyone knows about, and then the false belief of page 1 equality. Market saturation, yeah, people get a new iPhone, get a new camera, get new gear. They throw up their Google Maps profile, saying they shoot boudoir. They throw up their website, saying they shoot boudoir, compete on page 1 for the high intent keywords with us, and they also they also come in, through like COVID. That was like a big market saturation. People lost their jobs, but everyone has a smartphone with awesome cameras. So a ton of new boudoir photographers came through. And, that's more sellers for the same number of buyers makes it harder for every seller to win, every individual seller to win. Now, the false belief of page 1 equality is an interesting one because from what I've discovered seems like nearly all boudoir photographers kind of accept this, except that, I don't know, each boudoir photographer should either get 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google, and however the dice falls, that's simply what it is. Maybe they had 1 slot page 1, then someone new came in, ranked their website higher, they got, and it pushed them off to page 2, and it's like, okay, well, that's simply how it is, and that's how it is. But in fact, we've discovered that Google will actually give as many page 1 slots as someone wants to put in the effort to acquire. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google to 9 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google page 1 in only 10 days using this new strategy that we developed, that you'll see in 2 pictures here. Now, boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer. So if we're on page, we got 0 slots on page 1, we're on page 2 or deeper, and we're missing, approximately 80% of searches never even seeing us. Yeah, we're definitely disappearing boudoir photographer. If we got 1 slot on page 1, we're still invisible. We're disappearing boudoir photographer. And this is kind of the first sign, the canary in the coal mine, the blinking warning light telling us that, basically telling us that our boudoir photography business is on the path to disappearing once this happens. So this is our micro universe here. Disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the 2 horns of market saturation and page 1 equality. There is a false belief of page 1 equality. But thankfully, finally, we have a solution. We know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, S-cubed methodology. And the way it works is right in the name, social search saturation. We saturate social search with the highest intent buyer, boudoir buyer keywords to show up there. And when we do show up there, we're dominating social search. That's kind of like the backside of the Andes Mountains down in South America, where the snow is melting. It's flowing into small, flowing into small streams, small rivers, and eventually at the end it flows into the Amazon River. That Amazon River is page one of Google, but we first got to get the snow and the small rivers, small streams first. The inputs, that's saturating social search. And what's awesome about SQ methodology is it's the only thing that I've seen for boudoir photographers that can allow a boudoir photography business to continue to grow in the face of market saturation in a reasonable time and successfully compete against market saturation. The only other thing that I've seen that can do it obviously is a brand, massive well-known brand. But dude, that takes 5 to 10 years to actually acquire. We ain't got 5 to 10 years anymore, dude. We got AI coming, taking people's jobs, gonna force more people to be, into the photography market as photographers. We don't have time to rely 5 to 10 years to create a brand anymore. But now, an example of how SQ methodology, still can allow boudoir photography business to grow in the face of massive market saturation. Let's say got 1 million boudoir photographers in Topeka, Kansas, and we're one of them. Everyone's got their websites saying they do boudoir, and as a result, we are actually now competing against, we got 999,999 other competitors. And so competition is super fierce on page one of Google. So we crank up SQ methodology to the max. And let's say we're able to get the first 300 slots for like all the highest intent keywords across all social media search platforms. And let's say as a result, that flows onto Google. And let's say we got the first 300 slots on Google as well. And there's 10 slots per organic slots per page on Google. So we're taking up the first 30 pages. A buyer literally basically needs to go to page 31 to essentially find any of our competitors. Same if they search anywhere in social media as well. We're taking up all those first 300 slots. So whose business is growing in this case? Ours. Why? Because we're basically the only ones seen anywhere. We're seen. Everywhere someone searches, we're there taking up all the slots. And so, even though there's massive market saturation, we're still the business that's growing, and everyone else is disappearing, slowing down, shrinking, going away. So that's the magic of SQ methodology. Next, once treated with SQ methodology, we have page one visibility. And so, we got the first initial benefit, which is more page one slots. The second initial benefit is every new slot we take on page one, we actually are kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. Because now we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page two. So we're making them invisible to, 4 out of every 5 people, approximately 80% of the market, the bulk of the market. And we're getting like double, triple, quadruple the exposure. And page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So this is where the GBC recommended minimum of 3 slots comes in, because basically everyone else is going to have 1 slot. Our 3 slots going to dominate them. And there's also going to be a small chance someone could have 2 slots, but we're going to dominate them as well because we got 3. That's what BSV means. And boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, VBP. So it's our micro universe. We got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness. It's caused by the dual horns of market saturation and, most importantly, the false belief of page one inequality, which we now know is false, which we'll see my results with it, proving it false in the next picture. Finally, thankfully, thank the universe, we finally got the solution, S-cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility, we become visible boudoir photographers with boudoir search visibility. All right, dude, so now my results using SQ methodology for myself. So I want to rank for the, you can see right here, the words BLCS boudoir. I want to dominate page one Google for these words. So I purely used my S-cubed methodology. Come down here to the organic slots here. So I start with 0 slots on page one. And here we go. First organic slot, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So from 0 out of 10 slots on page one in Google to 9 out of 10 slots page one on Google in only 10 days, exclusively utilizing S-cubed methodology. All right, now to our main event here, we're going to check this boudoir photography business, see if it has BSS, see if they're hitting the GBC recommended minimum. 3 out of 10 slots page one Google search for local Washington, D.C. Well, technically that's city, and then region. All right, so the DMV, D.C., Maryland, Virginia area. All right, so region should actually be way more competitive than what we've normally seen. All right, let's go to DC. All right, so let's see what we got. All right, we got 0 out of 10 here for city search. Let's go to DMV area. All right, so we got 0 out of 10 for both. So we got BSS for both the city search and the regional search, and we got we're not hitting the recommended GBC yet. GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page one Google search for either of these searches as well. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer and you've done a local search for yourself, high intent keyword, as a buyer, saying you got BSS there, or you've done it at the city search, you may have BSS there, or you've seen for either of those, you're not meeting the GBC recommended of 3 out of 10 slots on page one, and you're seeing that SQ'd methodology is finally your one way to solve that, then you're also taking into account the false belief of page one inequality. Yeah, it's false. That Google wants to give us as many page one slots as we want to take and want to put in the effort to acquire. So SQ methodology is the path forward. And you understand market saturation, the two prongs, people getting new iPhones, people getting new cameras. And you like the initial benefits of SQ methodology, get more slots on page one, and also kicking competitors off page one, so you're on page two where you're basically never going to be price shopped against them. And you're liking all that. And with regards to market saturation, you're seeing AI, it's going to be taking more and more people's jobs. And as that happens, you know more and more boudoir photographers are actually going to come flooding into the market. And as more and more boudoir photographers flood into the market, they're actually going to, increase the supply. And as we increase the supply of boudoir photographers, going to be, harder to compete page one, lowering the basically more supply, lower demand of page one. And as a result, you realize you got to kind of fortify page one against a new future big rush of boudoir photographers. So as you're doing that, well, you're seeing, okay, SQ'd methodology is the only thing available to do that as well. And so you're liking all that. And you're also understanding that when we do SQ'd methodology, we're actually kind of building kind of these invisible thematic keyword columns. And as we build these invisible thematic keyword columns, what's happening is they're kind of like, columns of the Parthenon in Athens, Greece, or kind of like, hub and spoke kind of spokes attached, to our business hub. And what actually happens is we're increasing the mind share of the back end, the kind of the AI mind share. And every day we successfully do, we're going to higher and higher probability that we're going to rank here in the AI overview on Google. And we're also increasing the probability that we get recommended AI search as well. So this AI overview is really you know, basically a kind of a premium placement. But AI search, dude, AI search is awesome as well because more and more people are using AI search every single day. Um, and so this kind of invisible momentum building up in the background, and you recognize, man, this will also help you build a brand approximately 8x faster. Kind of all these benefits combined, kind of we're just showing up way more on everyone um, over time. And you're recognizing that it's better to, you decided you want to be a first mover on this because if you actually hop into this with your, you know, and you exclude all your competitors from using this, because my plan is to only work with this with one boudoir photographer in a city, then what actually happens is you're building up all this initial benefits and future benefits of making massive strides, massive progress against your competitors, kind of putting a big gap between you and them. As you put a big gap between you and them, it becomes harder and harder for them to ever catch up. And conversely, if someone else, some other competitor in your city came with you first, or came with me first, um, and we're able to build a massive gap on you, get all those initial benefits, what actually happens is you'd have to rederive SQ'd methodology on your own. You would not know if you've successfully rederived it 100% correctly or not. So then you'd actually have to go and run SQ'd methodology on your own and match our output to then kind of maintain the gap between your competitor and you. And you would have to, you'd actually have to then actually exceed our output to kind of catch us and close that gap. So you decide, screw that. You'd rather be you decide you're going to be the first mover and not have to deal with kind of someone overtaking your spots. So if that's you, shoot me a DM. Hospital is currently closed for new patients, but when we do open slots for new patients in the future, yeah, shoot a DM and we'll see if you qualify to utilize our S-cubed methodology.